Hi, I'm Arabella, a storyteller on YouTube. This story is inspired by real relationship confessions and has been fictionalized for storytelling purposes. Names, details, and events have been changed. If this story moves you, or if you see a part of yourself in it, please like the video and subscribe to support my channel. Now, let's begin. I was not exposed by a text, a photo, or the woman I was seeing. I was exposed because my lies became too perfect. Every late night had a reason. Every business trip had a receipt. Every sickness had a pharmacy run. Every friend had a name, a time, a place. I thought I had built a story no one could break, until my wife laid everything on the table and asked, "Why does your fake life make more sense than your real one?" The first lie was just over time. That was what made it feel harmless. I did not come home with lipstick on my collar. I did not disappear for a weekend. I did not invent some dramatic story that should have sounded suspicious from the beginning. I just said, "I have to stay late tonight." My wife barely looked up from the sink. She was used to that. My job had always been busy. Deadlines moved, meetings ran over. Clients changed things at the last minute. Me being late was not new enough to feel dangerous. That was why I chose it. A good lie does not sound interesting. It sounds like something the other person has already heard 100 times. She said, "Do you want me to save you dinner?" I said, "Yeah, I'll heat it up when I get home." And just like that, I had 3 extra hours. 3 hours that did not belong to my marriage anymore. At first, I thought the lie ended when I walked through the door that night. It did not. Because the next morning she asked how work went. So I needed a project. Then she asked who stayed late with me. So I needed a coworker. Then she asked if I was tired. So I needed to look tired. That was the first thing I learned. A lie does not stand alone. It asks for furniture, an email here, a complaint about a fake meeting there, a screenshot of my desk from a different night. I thought I was being careful. But really, I had started building a second life out of ordinary things, and the worst part was how quickly it started feeling normal. Fake overtime needed fake coworkers. Fake coworkers needed fake meetings. And fake meetings needed details I had to remember better than I remembered parts of my real life. That was when the lying became work. Not guilt, not panic. Work. I started building little supports under every sentence before I said it. If I told my wife we had a late client call, I needed to know the client's name. If I said Mark stayed late too, I needed to remember whether Mark was supposed to be married, single, funny, annoying, the kind of man she might ask about later. So I made him boring. Boring people are safer in lies. I put fake meetings in my calendar. I forwarded old emails to myself so my inbox looked active. I took pictures of my desk when I really was at work, then saved them for nights when I was not. My phone became a prop. My calendar became a script. My tired face became part of the costume. At first, it made me feel clever. That is the dangerous part about getting away with something. You do not feel lucky. You feel smart. I thought every detail made me safer. Every receipt, every timestamp. Every normal little complaint about work became another brick in the wall between my wife and the truth. But walls do not only keep people out, they keep you in. Soon, I could not answer a simple question without checking which version of my life she knew. Did I say the meeting was with finance or marketing? Was Mark the one who ordered dinner? Or was it Jason? Did I tell her the deadline was Friday or next week? I was not living anymore. I was maintaining continuity. And every lie I added to protect the first one made the whole thing heavier to carry. Then, over time, stopped being enough. 3 hours here and there began to feel too small for the life I was trying to hide. That should have scared me. Instead, I adjusted the lie. I told my wife I had to travel for work. Just one night. A client meeting out of town. A hotel near the office. Early presentation the next morning. Nothing unusual. Nothing dramatic. just enough truth around the edges to make the center look solid. She said, "When do you leave?" I already had an answer. That was how far gone I was. I had built the trip before she even asked the first question. I had a hotel confirmation in my email from a room I booked and never planned to sleep in alone. I had a calendar invite with a conference room name copied from an old work thread. I had a screenshot of a boarding pass from a previous trip, cropped just enough to look current if she only glanced at it. I thought that was preparation. Now I know it was rehearsing. On the night I was supposed to be away, I called her from the hotel lobby. Not because I wanted to hear her voice, because a good husband on a work trip calls home. That was the role. She asked if I had eaten. I said room service. There was no room service. She asked if the meeting went well. I said it was long. There was no meeting. She told me the washing machine was making that sound again, and for a second I almost felt annoyed. Not because of the machine, because her real life kept interrupting the fake one I was trying to enjoy. That is when I should have understood what I was becoming. I was standing beside another woman, pretending to be a responsible husband in a city I had chosen for the lie. I had two lives running at the same time, and somehow I still thought I was the one controlling them. I faked being sick to cover the night I almost got caught. That was the night the whole thing should have collapsed. I was in the hotel room with her when my wife called. Not texted, called. Video called. The phone lit up on the table, and for 1 second I just stared at it like it was something alive. My wife never video called unless she really wanted to see me. That made it worse. The other woman was sitting too close. Her shoes were near the bed. Her perfume was in the air. The television was on too low to hide anything and too loud to sound like a normal hotel room. I let it ring. Then I texted, "Can't talk. Headache is killing me." My wife called again. I answered with the camera off. "Are you okay?" she asked. Her voice was soft, concerned, real. And I hated that her kindness made everything harder. I said I had a fever. I said the meeting ran long. I said I had taken medicine and was lying down in the dark. I made my voice rougher, slower, smaller. She believed me. Of course she did. Because that is what love does before betrayal teaches it to become suspicious. She told me to drink water. She asked if I had medicine. She said she could call the front desk and have them send something up. I panicked. Too much care was dangerous. So I said someone from work had already gone to get it. Then I needed that person to exist. The next morning, I bought cold medicine I did not need. I took a picture of the receipt. I texted her that Mark had checked on me. Then I had to remember that Mark knew about my fake fever, my fake hotel room, my fake meeting, and my fake recovery. One lie had become a body with too many limbs, and my wife's love had become something I had to dodge. That was the first time I realized I was not protecting my affair from suspicion. I was protecting my lies from being touched by someone who still cared about me. Then I started borrowing other people's names to protect myself. That was when the lie stopped being private. Not because my friends knew, they did not. That almost made it worse. I used them like walls they never agreed to become. If my wife asked why I was late, I said I grabbed a drink with Daniel after work. If she asked why I missed dinner, I said Jason needed help moving something. If she asked why I smelled like a restaurant I had never mentioned, I said the team went out for someone's birthday. The first few times it worked. Names make lies sound human. A vague excuse can be questioned, but a name gives the other person something to picture. Daniel laughing too loudly at a bar. Jason asking for help with a couch. A coworker blowing out candles. A group photo that did not exist but could have. That was the trick. I did not just lie about where I was. I gave my wife people to imagine around me so she would not imagine the one person who was actually there. But every borrowed name became another thing I had to carry. If I said I was with Daniel on Thursday, I had to remember not to say Daniel was out of town that same week. If I said Jason had car trouble, I had to remember the fake mechanic, the fake ride. The fake reason I came home smelling like rain and perfume. If I said there was a birthday dinner, I had to remember whose birthday it was supposed to be. I started checking my own messages before answering simple questions. I started avoiding real friends because I was afraid one casual conversation would expose a fake one. My life became a room full of people who were not actually there, and the more names I added, the less safe I felt. Because a lie with one person can be controlled. A lie with 5 imaginary witnesses starts breathing on its own. I thought I was building protection, but really, I was building a crowd. And every face in that crowd was waiting for me to forget what I had made them say. My wife did not start asking more questions. She started remembering better. That was the part I missed. I thought silence meant trust. I thought the fewer questions she asked, the safer I was. If she did not ask who Mark was, if she did not ask what hotel I stayed in, if she did not ask why Daniel suddenly needed me every other Thursday, then maybe the story was working. But she was not believing me more. She was giving me more rope. I can see that now. She started listening differently. When I talked about work, she would nod, but her eyes stayed on my face a little longer than before. When I said traffic was bad, she did not ask which route I took. She just said, again, one word, soft, almost nothing, but it stayed in the room. I thought I had made everything look natural. I had receipts. I had messages. I had names. I had times. I had reasons. Too many reasons. That was what she saw before I did. Real life is messy. Real overtime does not always come with a perfect explanation. Real business trips have delays, forgotten chargers, bad photos, missed calls, wrong receipts, ordinary confusion. Real sickness makes people careless. Real friends do not always appear exactly when a story needs them. But my life had become too clean. Every late night had a witness. Every missed call had a reason. Every absence had paperwork. Every question had an answer ready before she finished asking it. At first, she said nothing. Then she began writing things down. Not in a dramatic way. Just small notes in her phone. Dates. Names. Restaurants. Times I said I left the office. Times I actually walked through the door. I did not know that then. I only knew she had become quiet in a way that made the house feel watched. One night I came home with another perfect excuse. She smiled a little and said, "You're getting very good at being believable." I laughed because I thought she was joking. She was not. That was the first time I felt the stage lights turn toward me. I was exposed on a night when everything matched. That was the irony. Nothing went wrong. No message appeared at the wrong time. No photo was found. No friend accidentally contradicted me. The woman I was seeing did not call. I did not leave a receipt in my pocket or come home smelling like somewhere I should not have been. I had built the cleanest night yet. I told my wife I had to stay late because the client moved the deadline. I sent her a picture of my desk. It was an old picture, but the laptop was open, the coffee mug was there. The room looked tired enough to be real. I had an email thread ready. I had a calendar invite. I even bought dinner near my office and saved the receipt just in case. When I walked through the door, I was calm, too calm. She was sitting at the kitchen table, not crying, not angry, just sitting there with her laptop open, a notebook beside her, and several printed pages spread out in front of her. Receipts, dates, screenshots, names, the kind of evidence I had created to protect myself. She looked up and said, "Can I ask you something?" My stomach tightened, but I still thought I could survive it. I said, "Of course." She tapped one page with her finger. "Why is your fake life more organized than your real one?" I stared at her. She continued, "When you're telling the truth, you forget things. You lose receipts. You mix up times. You complain about traffic without knowing the street name." She pushed another page forward. "But when you lie, everything lines up." I tried to speak. She shook her head. "No. Listen." So I did. And she said the sentence that ended the performance. "Real life has mistakes. Yours only has proof." That was when I understood. She had not caught one lie. She had caught the rhythm of all of them. I tried to explain. That was my instinct. Even then, even with the pages on the table, with the dates lined up better than I had ever lined up anything honest in my life, I still reached for one more version of the story. I said the client really had moved the deadline. She pointed to the calendar. That was the week before. I said Daniel had been with me that night. She turned one page. You told me Daniel was visiting his parents. I said the hotel was for work. She looked at me for a long time. Which hotel? And that was where my mind went blank. Not because there had only been one, because there had been too many. Too many rooms, too many fake cities, too many real charges hidden behind fake explanations. Too many versions of myself walking in and out of places I had no business being. I opened my mouth, but the lie did not arrive fast enough. That had never happened before. She noticed. Of course she did. She had learned my pauses by then. She said the name of the hotel for me. Then she said the date. Then the excuse I had used. Then the name of the person I claimed had been with me. She knew the script better than I did. That was what broke me. Not being caught. Being outperformed by the person I thought I had fooled. She was not yelling. She was not shaking. She was not begging me to admit anything. She was correcting me. Line by line, like I was an actor forgetting his own part. I said I can tell you the truth now. She closed the folder. No, she said. You can tell me whatever version you still remember. And I had nothing. Because after all that time pretending, the truth did not sound clean anymore. It sounded like another line I had rehearsed too late. I was not exposed because of one mistake. I was exposed because I had turned our marriage into a stage. That is what I understand now. For months I thought I was surviving because every detail matched. I thought the receipts protected me. I thought the fake meetings, the fake coworkers, the fake headaches, the fake dinners, the fake little pieces of proof made me impossible to catch. But marriage is not a courtroom. The person who loves you is not supposed to need exhibits. She should not have needed date screenshots, notes and patterns just to understand the life she was sleeping beside. I had made her into an audience. Every night she watched me walk through the door and perform being tired, perform being busy, perform being normal. I kissed her forehead with another life still running behind my eyes, then wondered why she started looking at me like she was trying to find the man under the costume. She did not need to meet the other woman. She did not need one final confession. She had already seen enough. Not of the affair, of the performance. A few days later, she packed a bag. Quietly. No screaming, no dramatic speech. Just clothes folded into a suitcase, documents placed in a folder, her wedding ring left beside the keys. I asked if she wanted to know everything. She looked at me and said, I already know what matters. That sentence still follows me. Because what mattered was not where I went, or who I was with, or how many times I lied. What mattered was that I could turn our everyday life into a script and still sit across from her at dinner like she was safe. So I will leave you with this. What is worse? Finding one lie, or realizing the person beside you has been rehearsing an entire life. Thank you for listening to this story with me. If it touched you, please don't forget to like this video and follow the channel for more stories like this. And most importantly, leave a comment below with your thoughts, how this story made you feel, and what you would have done in their place.